Looking for Thursday night football, injury analysis, game breakdown, and best bets? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bet. That is right, folks. Hey, we've got a big one today. We've got a division rivalry game. Love having division rivalry games on Thursday night. They have none other than the Dallas Cowgirls taking on the New York Football Giants. That is right, folks. Did I say Cowgirls? Look, as you can obviously tell, I am a New York Football Giants fan. However, I'm going to do my best to be as unbiased as possible. I will take all of my Cowboys hate and just look at it from an unbiased perspective. So we are going to break this game down in depth. We're going to go through the injury situations. We're going to go through how these teams are looking so far, how I see this game going down. And of course, we're going to give out my favorite best bets for this game. So let's kick it off. Let's look at the injury situation like I like to do. The Giants coming in. For my Giants, it's about worst case scenario. Two of their top three cornerbacks are out this week. Cornerback Adoree Jackson and Nickelback, yes, Drew Phillips are both out with calf injuries. So Drew Phillips is a guy who drafted out of Kentucky in the third round. He was drafted for games like this to cover guys like CeeDee Lamb in the slot. This is terrible. CeeDee Lamb absolutely decimates this Giants team. And with two of those top corners out, they brought Adoree Jackson in because they didn't like their CB2 position. So now this leaves the Giants very thin. They are getting Nick McCloud back from injury, so he'll slot in there in Adoree's slot. And it looks like Cordell Flott will get the start there in the nickel spot. But again, for the Giants, about worst case scenario, the Cowboys really struggle to run the ball. The passing game, especially CeeDee Lamb, is the way that they move the ball. And they're going to be out those two cornerbacks. So it's going to make things difficult. Darius Slayton, wide receiver, number 3 there for the Giants. Limited in practice with a thumb injury. It looks like he's expected to play. He should be good to go. Going over to the Dallas side of the ball. So they've also got some injuries to their secondary. Cornerback number 2, Deron Bland, is obviously on the IR with a foot injury. But the guy who replaced him, Kalen Carson, he's doubtful tonight with a shoulder injury. So similar to the Giants, 2 of the top 3 cornerbacks for the Dallas Cowboys are also going to be out. Now, they do have Diggs, where the difference I see here is that quarterback number 1 for the Giants, Deonte Banks, he has not really established himself as a lockdown corner in any way in this league. I don't think, CeeDee Lamb, they're going to throw him in the slot. Banks does not play in the slot. And I don't think Banks can cover CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. As much as I wish he could, it's just not going to happen at this point in his career. Amari Cooper diced him up for 2 touchdowns against that anemic Browns pass offense. So, that definitely concerns me. Where Trevon Diggs, he is a cornerback 1. He will take some risks. He will absolutely take some risks to try to get some interceptions, and he will let up some big plays. But he is right now a better cornerback than Deonte Banks. So, I give the edge a little bit on the injury front to the Dallas Cowboys there. Now, big thing here is that the Dallas Cowboys are the worst rushing defense in the league right now. They have let up the most rush yards in the entire NFL. So in order for the Giants to win this game and have success, it has to come through the running games. Whether it's Devin Singletary or whether it's Daniel Jones, this offensive line for the first time in a very, very long time looks competent. They're all healthy and they look like a competent unit. For the first 3 weeks, Giants fans and broadcasters have not talked about the offensive line. I can tell you as a fan, that does not happen very often. We are not usually 3 weeks into the season and no one's really mentioning the offensive line. Andrew Thomas is a bona fide left tackle. I think he's one of the best left tackles in the game. I think he can handle Michael Parsons. Now, they're going to move Michael Parsons around like they always do, like it's very smart to do. But this once vaunted Dallas defensive line, although good, is not as big of a mismatch as it has been in the past against these New York Giants. That's really what's killed the Giants, that pass rush. It's led to turnovers, and the game has simply got away from them, and they're not built to come from behind. If the Giants can have success with Devin Singletary, Daniel Jones on the ground, they have a path to success. Now, for the Cowboys, it's pretty simple. It's Dak Prescott and it's CeeDee Lamb. The Giants, again, they're out 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks. They're out the guy who, especially in the slot, and Drew Phillips would be on CeeDee Lamb. So that puts them behind the 8 ball, and Dallas is got to be licking their chops at that opportunity to be able to exploit that Giants secondary, which coming into the year was already pretty questionable. So the Giants win through the run game. Dallas wins if they stick to the pass and they get some explosive plays in the pass game, because the Giants are not built to come from behind. I think this is a situation where the Giants say they're rushing for over 100 yards a year. They also aren't the best on the rush defense, but Dallas has been very poor getting their run game going. Whether it's Rico Dowdle or Deuce Vaughn or Ezekiel Elliott, they have not really found a good footing on the rushing attack for Dallas. So again, they're going to do everything through the air. If I was the Giants, I would do my best to double CeeDee Lamb. And if somebody else beats you, like a Jalen Tolbert or Brandon Cooks or Jake Ferguson, then they beat you. But we will see there how that goes up. Another situation that I want to be tracking, other than Dallas's poor run defense, which I talked about, they're giving up almost 30 yards a game, which is not very common for a Dallas defense the last couple of years. They're also giving up 3 sacks a game. They've given up 3 sacks in every single game, even against the Browns when they were up a lot. So, all right, let's go overall game. The New York Giants are catching 5 points at this point. I know it's fluctuating between 5.5. It got up to 6 there. And so last I checked, it was Giants +5, +190 on the money line. And Cowboys are, laying 5, -225, over under around 44.5. Now, look, as you guys can tell, I'm a big Giants fan. I don't feel great about this game either way. So the way that I always kind of subscribe to is, look, if I don't have my own money on it, if I don't feel good enough that I put my own money on it, I'm not going to give it out as official play. There's the trend of NFL dogs, big spreads. I think it's over 5.5, 6.5 are really good this year at covering. So we'll see where this number closes. There's also the history piece, where Dallas has simply owned the New York Giants in recent history. This is going to pain me to bring up, but I saw a funny tweet here. So the last time the New York Giants beat Dak Prescott, Malik Neighbors was 13. Dan Jones was a sophomore at Duke. Barack Obama was our president. Dable was a Patriots tight end coach. Schoen was over in Miami. And Victor Cruz still played for the Giants. So, look, man, I wish I could have confidence in my Giants tonight, but I do not. If anything, out of spreads and totals, I do kind of like the over a little bit here. The only thing, division game, prime time, how much can this Giants offense really score there? So really my favorite plays come into the prop market. So let's get into the best bets. These are the plays I have money on. These are my favorite plays for tonight. So I will start with Dallas because it's pretty simple and it's probably pretty chalky, but I think that's where we are. CeeDee Lamb, reception over receiving yards, 90.5 +120. Give me all the CeeDee Lamb. I think, he came out and said how he was frustrated with his performance. He wasn't good enough when they lost to the Ravens, where they dressed that up. They really got beat down by the Ravens. They got beat up and ran all over. CeeDee Lamb's pissed. And again, the Giants are out 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks, and Drew Phillips in the nickel there. He looked really good as a rookie. I don't think he would have locked Lamb down, but we would be in a much better spot as the Giants if he was on the field. He's simply not on the field. Give me CeeDee Lamb over 90.5 receiving yards there at +120. I really like Lamb. I think, his numbers are high, but for good reason. I think he lights it up. On the defensive side, of course, we love defense here at IDP Plus. Give me Eric Kendricks over tackles, 8.5. You're laying juice at -140, but hey, he's the leading tackler. He's averaging just under 10 tackles a game. And again, if the Giants are going to be successful, they need to run the ball. So he's going to be in the middle. There's going to be a lot. I foresee a lot of Devin Singletary, a lot of all these Giants running backs mucking it up. Eric Kendricks over 8.5 tackles there. Pretty straightforward for the Cowboys. Moving over to the New York Giants here. You look, not rocket science based on the analysis I've been giving out. Devin Singletary over 70.5 rush yards at +135 over on DraftKings there. The Dallas Cowboys are the worst rushing defense in the NFL. If the Giants want to have any bit of success tonight, it has to come on the ground. You could get cute and get some Daniel Jones props there. Coming off the ACL still, I don't think he's, 100% mobility-wise. So I really think they do try to leave on Devin Singletary. Again, this offensive line for the first time in a long time isn't actually a solid unit. And I understand, the worst case scenario for the Giants, and that has plagued them since they played the Cowboys, is getting into 3rd and long situations and letting Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and everybody, all those guys eat. They need to be in 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 5 all night. And in order to do that, they have to run the ball. I think they're going to pound the rock with Devin Singletary. And I think he has some success, again, against a very porous defense. We saw what Derrick Henry did to them last week. Again, the Giants don't have Derrick Henry, but this offensive line has been a pretty impressive unit so far. For the defensive side, again, Dallas has given up 3 sacks every game this year. So I like, they've mostly been on the edge. Give me Kayvon Thibodeau over a quarter of a sack plus 150 there. It's primetime. Kayvon Thibodeau loves primetime. That's part of the reason why he loves playing in New York. He loves playing over the bright nights. That's when he has his best games. I think we're getting a good price here at plus 150. Again, a once great Dallas offensive line is a bit of a shell of itself. They've got rid of some of the older guys. They've moved on from some guys, and it hasn't quite worked out. And I do expect Dallas to be throwing the ball a lot. They do not get a lot on the ground going. Again, they have the kind of matchup with CeeDee Lamb that they're going to favor themselves with. So I think there's going to be a lot of pass rush opportunities. And again, Kayvon at plus 150, I think is a nice price under the lights there. And then the last play, again, another chalky one, but Cordell Flott over 4.5 tackles. He's going to be in that nickel position where they're going to be targeting all night with CeeDee Lamb. He's the 3rd leading tackler on the team. He definitely sticks his nose in there. He is not afraid of contact. So I think for him to get over 4.5 tackles is going to be very easy. It's minus 145. There's a reason that you're laying the juice there. They're 2 chalky plays, but hey, I parlayed Cordell Flott over 4.5 tackles with Eric Kendricks over 8.5 tackles, and that was plus 200. So I think those are, a little bit chalky on the tackles props, but based on game scripts and based on the guys that really stick their nose in there, those are the 2 that I'm going after. All right, folks, that is the breakdown for Thursday night. For jumping in the chat there, I will help out Z Smitty really quick, and then I will get out of here. McBride isn't going to play, and I need to pick up a tight end. Well, my bench is really good. Who should I package a 2-for-1 for? Bench, Hunt, Coop, Deontay, Terry, Thomas, Worthy, Chubb, IR. Okay, so it looks. So you're basically saying what 2 should we get rid of to pick somebody up, because you're not going to get rid of McBride. So I would probably. That is tough. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, I would probably drop Hunt and Thomas. Who's Thomas? Go ahead and drop that in the chat there. But tight ends that I'm looking at, the Tyler Conklin is somebody that I like. Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki are guys that I like as streaming options for tight ends this week. So I would definitely drop, I think you got to get rid of Hunt and Thomas. I'm drawing a blank on Thomas. But Worthy, I think you keep Worthy. Yeah, you can't really get rid of Cooper Kupp. Deontay Johnson's actually has a quarterback now. Terry McLaurin's best quarterback he's played with, Xavier Worthy. He's just too explosive. So I don't know why I'm thinking of Michael Thomas is the only thing coming to my head who is no longer in the league. So all right, Smitty, appreciate you jumping in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Look, those are my best bets for Thursday night. Of course, I got to say, let's go Giants. And from us here at the IDP Plus, enjoy the show.